And finally, to come to the last segment of today's program, we have the Fireside Chat 2 on AI and the future of higher education, wherein the panel will discuss how artificial intelligence is shaping teaching, learning, and research in higher educational institutions. And to moderate this session, we have Dr. Saurabh Basu, a founding faculty member and assistant professor of Nobuling Rigte College, Bhutan, and founder of AI Lopens Learning Academy Private Limited, India. As the college's AI focal person, he has led the AI policy frameworks and led numerous AI capacity building programs in Bhutan and abroad. An alumnus of the University of Western Australia, he holds a PhD in management, MBA, BTech in CSC, graduate certificate in HR, and postgraduate certificate in higher education. His work includes a copyrighted text on collaborative intelligence and a patent for an AI dual screen dashboard. On the Fireside Chat series with Dr. Basu, on the theme, we have the following panelists: Dr. Rinchen Doji, Pro Vice Chancellor, Royal University of Bhutan; Yishiom Denduk, Deccan University, Australia; Sapna Gurung Samtsi College of Education, Royal University of Bhutan; Doji Hamo, member of the National Gender Group. Please welcome them on stage, please. And it's connected.
Hello. Las. Kuzampola, are you all everyone with us? So I hope it's not too late. I can still wish you good afternoon. So on that note, good afternoon, Your Excellency, Ambassador of Bhutan to Australia, Honorable Vice Chancellor, esteemed presidents and deans, distinguished guests, and our friends who are joining online. It is a true honor for me to welcome you all on this Fireside Chat, where we reflect on how AI is redefining the world in which we live in, how it is enriching the heart of Bhutanese education, and how it will influence the hopes, the confidence, and the opportunities of every learner in this country. Today, let us explore this moment together with wisdom, clarity, and a shared commitment to prepare Bhutan for the future with confidence and care. Before we talk about artificial intelligence and the future of higher education, I would like to start with something very human. All of us here in this room has one thing in common. We do care deeply about our students more. We are living in a moment where the world is changing faster than our policies, faster than our classrooms, and sometimes, even without knowing, faster than our imaginations. So, as we care for our students, we do care about their confidence, their future, and the kind of nation they will inherit. So, for all this change, if you look very deeply at the heart of this change, what is there? It's not a machine. It's a young learner in the classroom, a faculty member trying his or her best, and an education system that carries the dreams of a small nation with a very big vision. How do we protect what we deeply call as Bhutanese? The trust between the teacher and the student, the quiet dignity of learning, and the values that shape our national characters. This conversation today is not going to be about the fear of AI, but it is about the future we invite to create together. I'm honored to moderate this session, and and with this remarkable four panelists which we have here, and I'm very excited to this conversation. So on this note, I'm sure each of one will bring in a unique perspective. So to open our opening reflections, we have our Miss Ishi from Deakin University. Ishi, can I have you open? Because she is currently a student pursuing her master's, so she's seeing this change live in the classroom. So if you can bring your reflections.
Yes, thank you, Dr. Basu, and good afternoon, everyone. I'd like to join Dr. Basu and our panel members here, firstly, to thank our organizers for this opportunity. And before I share my reflection, how many of you here in the audience are students, La? Can we have a show of hands? Last majority of us, no? And how many of you have used AI in your classes? We can be honest, I'm sure your professors are not marking you. Yes, thank you. I have as well. And personally, as a student, AI, especially generative AI tools, has been really transformative for me. And while I use AI for many various tasks, the top 3 use cases that I thought were very useful, and I'm sure it's not unique to me. I'm sure every one of you must be using it for similar purposes. So the first one is I use it to help me refine and brainstorm my assignments. Surprise. So I leverage these AI tools not only help me put together my thoughts, but something that I really try to do is intentionally prompt it to push my boundaries, to help me think beyond the box by challenging my assumptions and my thoughts. And I think that really helped me enrich my learning process. And secondly, I use it for feedback. So after I'm done with whatever work I'm doing, I go back to these AI tools and ask for feedback. And a practice, again, that's really helped me is to prompt these tools. To train these tools based on the rubrics and the questions that you have, and also to prompt them to give me feedback as if they were my professor, or like how my professor would give me. And lastly, I leverage it as a personal tutor. So even in my classes and my seminars, I always have ChatGPT or Gemini open. And whenever there's a concept or a theory that I don't understand, I always go back to these AI tools to help me break down these concepts into simpler terms. And beyond these academic content, something that's really helped me was, I think these AI tools really helped me with my confidence. So as a student, like I'm sure many of you, I often hesitate to ask questions in the class because I feel that sometimes my questions are too basic or it's irrelevant. But now with AI, it provides me the safe space to ask questions, ask any dumb or irrelevant question without the fear of being judged. And these are things that I use AI for, and that's really helped me enrich, especially as a student. Thank you.
Thank you, Ishi, for bringing that up. So you have talked about creating a safe learning space, more like AI is providing you. So on that note, I'll come to Ma'am Sapna. Ma'am Sapna, you being a faculty member at a college which are training the future teachers, Mola, how do you see these changes happening in the classroom? If you could share some light on that.
Thank you, sir. Good afternoon, everyone. First of all, I would like to thank the university for organizing such a critical discussion and then inviting me to be one of the panel member here. So I'm really grateful for it. Just to answer what Sir had said, let me just go from the country's perspective. So we as a whole nation that is at the developing state, we are at a pivotal point where we have this role and responsibility to nurture, uphold our Bhutanese values, culture, tradition, whilst we are working on and then working towards the technological transformation that is happening out there. And then of all this, of course, the whole nation is taking up the role. The major or the strongest responsibility falls under the shoulder of Royal University of Bhutan. Why? Because we are the organization which is going to cultivate and then produce the immediate workforce for the nation. So having said that, I will come down to the question of why use AI in class? And the answer is very simple. We have to equip our students who are going to be the immediate workforce with all the competencies that is necessary for them to be ready for the job market, not just locally, but also make them competent enough to be able to join a workforce in the global economy that is generally guided by the most intelligent machines out there. And then now, at this time, learning AI and then how to integrate AI is not just a luxury. It has become a core competency that each and every one of us must have. So with that, I would also like to share about what is AI to just not me, but majorly for the faculty of RUB, and then to be more specific, SAMSI College of Education, because I come from that. So at SAMSI College of Education, we do not consider AI as an adversary that needs to be banned. It is not going to be a technology that is going to take over our jobs later on down the line as well. We consider AI to be a co-pilot that we can use as a cognitive designed technology that can only help accelerate our efficiency of the practice that we do on a daily basis of teaching learning process. So in that case, I would also like to venture a little bit on how I personally use AI in my classes. The major practice that I generally go for is designing or customizing my teaching learning materials for the classes that I take. For example, the majority of the time what I do is I ask AI tools to design some kind of interesting classroom activities that are more engaging and then fun for my students, so that when they attend my classes, they look forward to having some kind of fun during the class. In the meantime, they are learning what they are supposed to do. So along with that, customizing questions. Let's say I have one activity going on with the main theme of discussion. I can ask AI to design this thematic question into different levels, so that I can give different levels of question to the students who are at the different learning levels. In that case, so in that case, we also cater to different diverse learning style of the students. Along with it, I would like to also say that we really encourage on how to use AI by the students as well. And then one last question that I cannot miss to discuss here is that as people who are using AI in our learning process, we always must ask what if question, which is very important, yes. I think. The what if question is, what if we succeed in using AI, and what if we fail? Succeed, the answer is glorious. Everything is going to be good. If we fail, then what? So that is a very good question that, yes. I think we have to discuss.
We'll deep dive that.
Sure,
in the second round.
So I think
okay.
I would end my reflection
okay.
here.
Thank you, Ma'am Sapna, for bringing the educator's perspective. You also talked about something called co-pilot. I'll come to that on the next round. Now we have Ma'am Doji. She's from the National Gender Expert Group. So, Ma'am, can you bring in some critical viewpoint on how this, because primarily the data on which the AI is currently working on is male-dominated data. For example, if you go to ChatGPT and you ask, give me a picture of a doctor, I can put money on this, it will always produce you a white-skinned male doctor. Okay, yeah, you can try it. So what are your viewpoints that in this critical aspect, as we design our policies or guidelines in the university, and AI is coming up in such a big way in all aspects of our life, what is your viewpoint on who lived behind and who are we bringing on board? So if you could throw some light from that perspective.
Okay. So, thank you very much, and thank you very much for having me. As Doctor mentioned, I'm here to, I think, basically talk about how gender and social inclusion intersects with the whole AI and higher education. And I think it's the right conversation to have at this moment in time, because we are just beginning to talk about it in the Royal University of Bhutan, and I'm sure the same is true for the KGUM as well. So I'd like to begin very simply by explaining what we mean when we talk about gender and social inclusion. And it really boils down to asking a very simple question. We are talking about who is on the table, who are we talking about, and who we might unintentionally exclude from the discourse on AI and higher education. And it's really about recognizing that women, men, boys and girls may use AI technology very differently, and if we are to develop AI technology, then the kind of impact it will have can be different for different groups of people. And in Bhutan, we tend to say that most of our policies are gender neutral. And of course, the intention is to include everyone and provide equal opportunities, but oftentimes gender neutral policies can also overlook the starting points of different groups and their individual experiences and the socialization process that they go through. Then I think it's best if I share some simple examples from the education sector, For instance, in our classrooms, we don't really differentiate between boys and girls, but their learning outcomes can be different. And if you look at the annual education statistics, also we see that in the primary and secondary education level, we see a lot more boys dropping out of school. So it, your parental economic background, your parents' level of education, where you are born, is it in a rural space or in urban space? So all these things intersect with how we learn in the classroom. So the same logic, when we bring it to, I think, in the discourse of AI and higher education, I think there are a lot of now emerging research on that. And some examples that are being commonly discussed on social media is that there are AI that, as doctor mentioned, that can unintentionally amplify the inequalities that we see in the society. So for example, there's facial recognition systems that can be less accurate for women, and especially for women with darker skin, because the AI was trained on data that was mostly male-dominated and lighter-skinned people. And I think university-specific, some plagiarism detecting tools also flag women more often because their writing style is simply, slightly different from the data set that was trained on for that AI system. And again, I think AI tools that measure student engagement, oftentimes our boys are flagged because they tend to show less emotion and they don't smile and they're too serious in the class. So they might be flagged as not engaging in the class. So this kind of biases and things can be overlooked if we are not careful, Emil. So as we step into this space, we need to remember that AI only learns from the data that we feed, and to be aware that the existing data may have those inequalities inbuilt in them. So when one of the things that we see in Bhutan specific and higher education specific is that when only 1/3 of the STEM programs are, female students enrollment is only 34% in STEM. In fact, we have met gender parity at higher education level, but in STEM subjects, we are still lagging behind. And I think it's a global phenomena as well. And even fewer lecturers female lecturers in STEM field. So you can imagine that if we are to build AI systems at this moment, then we are looking at mostly men doing that work in terms of designing the AI, in terms of testing it, so in terms of the data that we are feeding it. So we have to be careful that the groups that are doing this work are representative. So I think the other thing is that RUB and KG OMS has a late starter's advantage, so to speak. We can learn from the mistakes and the experiences of other universities. And a few simple guidelines that we can remember at this point is to say that, to make sure that the teams who are designing are representative, and second is to be fully aware that AI systems, that men and women may use technology very differently, and to ensure that the data we use is clean, diverse, and disaggregated. Otherwise, the system will simply learn the biases that we have and may end up reproducing it. Thank you.
Thank you, Ma'am Doji, for grounding us on this inclusion, representation, and the fairness. So finally, I would like to request Dr. Rinchen to take us through the institutional readiness policy research, because you are from the RUB as a Pro Vice Chancellor, so there could be no one better than this.
Yes, thank you, Dr. Basu. Good afternoon to all of you. I think all of us here at the conference would agree that artificial intelligence has become a very powerful, transformative force that compels us to rethink, reshape how knowledge is created, delivered, and consumed at different levels of education. And in the last few years, we have seen that generative AI, advanced from simple, very simple automated responses to highly sophisticated systems capable of producing human-like tests, analyzing large research data sets, and then generating images, videos, which are very human-like and supporting complex decision-making, not just limited to education, but organizations outside the field of education. And in education, most of the education systems, not just limited to higher education, I think the influence of AI is quite powerful. And AI these days influence very much in the way we design curricula for the school or higher education, in academic writing, just like some of the experiences that Ishi shared earlier, and in designing assessment methods, research practices, and even institutional governance. For me particularly, as someone who works for the university, though I do not really have any background in technology or AI, the kind of views that I share today here is purely based on the readings that I have done as part of my job and as an employee of the Royal University of Bhutan. Especially when we look at the rapid developments in generative AI, we can see that the developments or the advancement in generative AI are not just merely an advancement of a use of a technological tool, but the advancements that we have seen in Gen AI over the last few years, really represents a paradigm shift and a transformation of the very essence of education, not just limited to higher education, but the very essence of education in general. And Gen AI, because of the kind of advancements that we have seen and the kind of influence that it presents to education practices, we see that generative AI has compelled us to re-examine our values, our instructional pedagogies that we use in education, the assessment practices that we use to assess our students' learning, and the very mission and the vision of higher education systems in the country. Coming to sharing some of the things that we have already initiated on how to address the influence of generative AI in higher education systems in the colleges of the Royal University of Bhutan. As of now, we have seen that our urgent attention and need is to address people's concerns regarding the unethical and irresponsible use of AI in teaching and learning. Today, I would also like to believe that all of us would agree that, the moment we talk about AI, like ChatGPT or Google Gemini or Perplexity, the moment we talk about it, we are so, as educators, or even as higher education learners, students, we are so concerned about people's concern and worry about plagiarism. But beyond that, I think there is a lot that generative AI can offer. And if we know how to use it ethically and responsively and mindfully, like the examples that Yishi, as a current higher education student earlier expressed, there is a lot that AI can offer. And cognizant of such positive benefits of AI in education, the Royal University of Bhutan has already initiated the development of a guideline that could be applied across the constituent and the affiliate colleges of the university to help us address that worry and the concerns. But at the same time, we would also like to believe in promoting the ethical and responsible use of AI so that our higher education practices becomes much more efficient, effective, and at the same time, productive in terms of learning.
Yes, thank you. Thank you. Thank you for all the opening reflections. Now we'll deep dive into this conversation on the points which you have raised. Ishi, I noted that you shared something like AI feels like a non-judgmental tutor to you, Mola. You get a safe learning space. You can ask anything without being hesitant, and nobody judge you that, oh, this person doesn't know anything. So how do you see this, that the entire learning space is changing? Or do you think that as the educators need to take a note of this and make the classroom more open, more or less judgmental? What's your take on this? What I mean to say is, does it also calls for the lecturers? How do you see that the role of a teacher also being a little bit changed on that angle?
Yes, Dr. Basu, thank you for the question. So when I said that these AI tools gives me a safe platform to ask questions, I don't at all mean to imply that our classrooms are not safe or it's not facilitative enough to learn. What I think is these AI tools gives us this power to break through our own psychological barriers that we oftentimes enforce on ourselves in our mindset, that the fear of being judged or just that self-consciousness that we have,
Yes.
that internalized self-consciousness.
Mm-hmm.
But of course, I think these AI tools are also helping in a way level the playing field for students like myself. Like I mentioned, I get to learn a lot of things without the fear of being judged. And of course, there is a study by Cambridge University that found that especially women students ask 2.5 times less questions in public gatherings as compared to their male counterparts, just because of the fear of being judged. So I think that's really removing that barrier to education for especially female students like myself. But of course, I think that is also slowly changing the way our educators are approaching the students.
Are they more approachable?
No, I don't mean that they have to be more approachable. I think it'll be nice for them to be more approachable,
Okay.
but I think increasingly as students are leveraging these tools to build on their foundations and their basics, I think it's freeing up more time for our professors here to focus on the important aspects of education that goes beyond academic content. I'm talking about aspects such as building deeper connections with the students, providing greater mentorship, personalized guidance. And yeah, through that, I think it is really transforming and reshaping the higher education systems. And for me personally, I think I'm really enjoying being a student at this moment of time. I think it's an exciting time to learn, and as students, I think we get to leverage, and we should leverage the best of both worlds. So on the one hand, we can leverage these AI tools to build on our academic contents, the foundations, the fundamentals. But on the other hand, we have our dear human educators to lean on to build those deeply human values and human soft skills. And also as Bhutanese, I think our Bhutanese values such as Lejude and Thadamtsi, I don't think any of these AI tools will ever be able to replicate or replace our educators for that. So I think, yeah, that's how, yeah.
Thank you, Ishi, thank you. Ma'am Sapna, I would like to pick up on Ishi's point because you are being an educator in the classroom. So do you see this changing of safe learning space, being emotionally available to the students, being a tutor? So you also mentioned about something called co-pilot, right? How do you see this changing role of educators now from this perspective, that how, like AI, we also become approachable to the students? Do you see that educators need to reflect on this?
Sure, sir. Yes, definitely. First of all, I would like to talk a little bit about our college. Our college is a teacher-educator college,
Yes,
and then our college, I think, compared to all of the rest of the college, will have the most diverse students, not just from their learning style, but also from their subject of specialization. So in that case, yes, we know that there are n number of strategies that can be used in order to cater to different learning style of our students.
Different instructions and
yes,
all.
yes. There are other things apart from differential instruction as well. So although we know the theoretical knowledge of how to use it, but in reality, in the ground reality, somehow our teachers are not able to replicate that actually how they plan to in the classroom, because there is a whole universal reason why that is the teachers are not able to do that. But if we are to use AI, that is, when we use AI, our work becomes quite easier in terms of creating teaching learning materials for the classes. I will just give you an example of what
Yes,
we have
please,
in the
yeah.
college. At Samsi College of Education, there is one strategy that is deeply rooted, which is called the UDL framework, which is Universal Design for Learning. So that framework, we talk about how there are multiple means of expression, engagement, representation, whereas faculty or as the tutors in the classroom, we bring out multiple ways of representing the same idea owing to the different learning style that we have in the classroom. So let's say if we have 3 different styles of learning style in the classroom for visual, read, write, or auditory. So with the help of AI, we can bring in the resources that we have gathered, which is majorly in the form of text. If we just give out the text format, it's only going to be helpful for the read-write set of students.
Yes.
Then we will be leaving out the visual learners or the auditory learners. In that case, we can use the text, use AI tool to convert those into podcasts perhaps for the auditory learner, and then or create images or videos with good prompts. To create videos for the visual learners, and then not just predominantly depending on the pre-made videos that is out there in YouTube. So we can create on our own as well, the teaching learning materials. Apart from it, now when we come down to the representation, where we also open up more liberty to our students, that whatever format they wish to express themselves, we as a tutor must be accepting that. Of course, having said that, the assessment becomes quite tedious at the end of the teacher, but then again, AI again helps there. If you are just going up with a normal quiz questions, you can give out feedback and assessment immediately. Apart from it, if the students are representing their answers or to the answers of any task that you have given them in different format, let's say some students wants to bring in a working model, some student wants to give in a speech, or some student wants to write a normal article. So there are 3 different kinds of representation. We must have 3 different rubrics. Now the work of the tutor increases a little bit more here, but AI really helps in doing that.
Yes.
Okay. With that, what I'm trying to say is, as a tutor, we are demonstrating the best way to nurture the talents that we have in our students. And since we are creating or we are cultivating teachers, we expect our students to take that good practice from us, inculcate in their own practice when they become full teachers, and have that ripple effect for our next gen.
Thank you, Ma'am Sapna. I'll come to Ma'am Doji. Ma'am Doji, very quickly, let me bring you in here. We are talking about safe learning spaces, Mola. And I saw your reflections reminds us that AI can sometimes misread or marginalize certain groups. So how do you make sure that this new learning culture is gender aware and inclusive so that the safe spaces are safe for everyone? What's your take on this?
Yes, I think I might just end up repeating what I said in my opening remarks. So basically, I think we have around maybe 2 to 3 strategies that we can adopt. I think partly Madam Sapna touched on those. So really trying to look at what our students need and what might be their differentiated need, and looking if we are going to put in design teams or people who are going to do data validation for AI, then I think we have to ensure and have a policy that in all these teams they are representative, that we have women on the team, that we have people with disability on the team, that their needs and their experiences are embedded in the system. So that is one. The second one that I think might be important is for our academics and also our students and for our IT professionals working in the university to be trained on AI ethics properly, and then and also some connection with gender mainstreaming as to how do we look at the AI technology from a gender lens. So some capacity building on that. And the third one is the governance structure also can ensure that every governance structure level that the teams are representative and we ensure that it is inclusive. So these are some of the things and strategies we can do.
Last. Thank you, Ma'am Doji. Maybe a quick note, if anything, from institutional perspective, how we nurture a culture where we strengthen this from institutional perspective.
I think as higher education institutions, our efforts and initiatives to embrace and harness the best possible benefits of AI, being able to address the emotional health and well-being of the learners is the most fundamental, of issues and values that we cannot afford to ignore and forget.
Yes.
For the Royal University of Bhutan, I'm going to talk, because I work for the Royal University of Bhutan, I'm going to talk from RUB's perspectives on how we plan to address this one. I think as RUB, plans to work and institute, an AI policy for implementation in the colleges of the university, we will be very mindful and cautious about in developing an institutional AI policy that actually respects and regards the students' emotional health and well-being as one of our highest concerns.
Yes.
Because, ultimately what we do is, while we know that AI can help us do, so many things, make learning efficient, make teaching much more effective, more current, relevant. I think at the end, what we need to understand is technology can be used as an enabler, but not something that replaces the age-old tradition of Bhutanese cultural values, the human connection, the human critical thinking, the human, emotions and empathy, the compassions that human teachers can actually, show and use to bond with the learners, because AI is a machine, and
yes,
it does not have any feelings or emotions. And today in the morning sessions, we got to hear that, compassion, empathy, students' well-being has to be,
they're at the core.
considered and has to be at the core, because they are basic for anything that we do, not just in education.
Very quickly, I think time is running out, as you say. Yeshi, I will come to you. You shared about in your opening relations that you're using AI to convert a text material to an audiobook, and it helps you in learning. Ma'am Sapna has also touched on this. Ma'am Sapna, do you think that if students are using this way, it's fine, but where do we draw the line? Or refine assignments? So till what can we go?
Yes, definitely. So right now, currently, we do not have any guidelines that will limit us
that's under
to,
process, as Dr.
Yes,
Rinchen has already mentioned.
Like Dr. Rinchen pointed out. So what I personally do is, of course, I encourage my students to use AI in their learning, just like Ms. Sesha had talked about. So what I do personally is I take Viva after the submission of the assignments. Once the students turn in their assignments, the next step for me is I will have a Viva on the basis of the assignment that they have submitted. So that allows me to see if they, whatever they have taken up with the use of AI, did they actually understand it before turning it up or not? So that is one thing that really helps. And another thing is encouraging our students to have a section in the assignment that is basically on AI use, where they can list what are the different AI tools they have used, what are the prompts that they have used, and the exact content from which they took the reference from in order to solve the questions or to complete the assignment. So that is one thing that I personally do. And then nowadays, open book examination is also taking up more popularity, and it is gaining popularity. So I think I do these smaller things in order to see if the students are actually being active learner and not just passive receiver of the output generated by the AI tools.
Even the designing the prompt itself also takes a lot
so
of, we had a whole new engineering branch called prompt engineering coming up on this.
Yes.
Okay.
So I think I'd like to start.
Yes, thank you, thank you. So I'm sure that you must have given a lot of questions I can see here, but due to interest of time, we will maybe pick up one or two. Someone has asked that dependence on AI might lead to unused human brain. How are we going to ensure the balance of use? If anyone would like to take, maybe Dr. Rinchen.
Whoever has asked this question, I think there are many other people, parents, educators, learners alike, who has this concern and worry. But as I shared earlier, there are many good ways of using AI. I think today, if you look at the advancement in digital technology or tools such as AI, besides the concerns that we have because of few adverse or negative effects of AI can offer much more, positive, things than the negative things that we actually see. And I think, and because of this, recognizing the values of AI in improving our educational practices, we believe in bringing out guidelines or AI-related policies that can educate to help our educators, academics, and students use AI much more responsibly, more mindfully, and ethically. And I think, for instance, you use AI to help you analyze research data in a qualitative study. You can always use AI to help you generate a theme or the different themes for your research, but how you can actually make sure that it is ethical, responsible, mindful, so that the kind of themes that the AI generates for you is relevant to your research data. It speaks what your data actually covers. And for that, we have to be educated to be able to use AI, ethically by making, acknowledging the use of the kind of tools that you have used, and at the same time, watching out for, the false negatives or the false positives that, one of the persons from the audience earlier, used to caution one of the speakers, and at the same time, knowing that AI also hallucinates.
Yes.
Because what the AI tells you is based on the amount of data that has been fed into the AI, the algorithms. And because of that limit, while the data can be huge, yet AI would not have everything that you actually need. And that's where the human element or the human component actually can be used to ensure that we are using technology much more responsibly and mindfully.
Yes. Maybe ma'am,
I
share
just
something.
want to add something.
Yeah.
I think this conversation around cognitive atrophy, I think it'll look very different if we're talking about younger kids. But since we're talking in the context of higher education, I think as students, the onus, the responsibility really falls on ourselves to really meaningfully and intentionally leverage these AI tools so that it becomes an enabler to meaningful learning instead of a threat to AI as the concern shared, as the person shared. Yeah. Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Ishi. There's one question, with your permission, if I can take. Yeah. So Dr. Rinchan has already talked about AI hallucinates, and there's a question related to this. It says that, how do you teach that the responses from AI is not always the most relevant? Anything, ma'am Sapna, would like to share on this? Because it's important to teach to our students this, right? I mean, this is a very relevant question.
The best practice that I do is always ask students, first of all, to write any questions they are given, to write answers on their own without the use of technology. On part 2, I allow them to use technology, use AI, and then write another set of answer. Now they have 2 set of solutions or answers going on with them. Now they need to critically analyze where they have gone right, where they have gone wrong, or how different are the solutions. So in that case, we always encourage our students to ask question to the output or the AI tool and not just accept whatever is generated. Of course, half of the work is done if we use the best practice of prompt engineering to get the most refined output out there. However, each time an answer is being generated, rather than relying completely on it, asking question to the answer that is generated by the AI is one practice that is commonly seen in our set of students, where they'll have to critically ask questions in order to evaluate if it's correct or not.
Yes,
So
okay.
I think
I would like to add one small thing. When you ask AI anything, you can also keep a footnote before you press the enter that you can ask me further questions to understand me better. So if you try this out, you can see that AI will also ask you deeper questions, and when you answer, and then when AI produces an output which you really like, I mean, that meets up your expectation, give a thumbs up, and also comment that, okay, this is something which I was exactly looking for. So that's how you train the model of AI, and then you keep on getting the better output. Okay, there are also some personalized setting which you can do in your chat GPT, but sorry, due to time constraint, we will not be talking on those things. Okay, so it's time for a wrap up. Before we wrap up, any one key message from each one of you, very quickly. very quickly.
So a key message from my end would be to intentionally leverage AI as a collaborative learning tool. And I guess I just wanted to point out top 3 skills that I personally feel would be really important for us to thrive in this AI world. First would be metacognition that scholars worldwide are talking about, the ability to think, to understand what you're thinking, and to really reflect on those thinking. Second, adaptability. So like His Majesty shared in his address on 11th November, the 12th lesson he learned from Jugesh Jiba was to always be adaptive, to learn, to unlearn, and reinvent ourselves constantly. And the last skill is to learn how to ask the right questions. Thank you.
Thank you. Ma'am Sapna.
So in line with what Ms. Rishi said, I would also encourage everyone to ask questions to the output that is generated.
Yes.
And then again, use AI to personalize your learning on a daily basis.
Les. Dr.
Plus, my message to the gathering here is, I know that there are many people who have concerns, but we must all understand that the future of AI and higher education in Bhutan is not about replacing educators, but empowering our educators.
Absolutely.
In the wake of AI developments, not about amplifying risks and inequalities that AI brings, but about harnessing opportunities more responsibly. And then it's not about adopting technology blindly or indiscriminately, but using AI in guiding its use with purpose and wisdom. And to be able to do that, educators, mind you, we have to be able to stay current,
Relevant, agile.
educated, agile, updated in terms of our knowledge and skills. Last, thank you.
Very quickly.
Last, so just sticking to my point, I would just like to say that AI is not gender neutral, and technology normally represents and shows the values and the experiences and the blind spots of the people who build it. Therefore, if we want inclusive AI in our universities, then we have to first build inclusive teams, we have to have inclusive policies, and most important of all, have an inclusive mindset. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. Thank you, all the panelists, for a very thoughtful and deeply honest conversation. So, do we close? Okay. Let's, thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. I wanted to close.
Thank you. Thank you to our moderator, Dr. Saurabh Basu, and panelists Dr. Rinchen Doji and our 3 ladies, Yishuam Dendup, Sapna Gurung, and Doji Lhamo, for the very informative and relevant discussion on AI's potential and challenges in shaping the future of higher education. Your insights provide valuable guidance for institutions navigating this rapidly evolving transformation through AI and the paradigm shift that is happening in our education system. And finally, to conclude, we now have the summary and closing remarks for D2, and to conclude it with a brief overview of the lessons that we have learned possibly from D2. What we've noticed, or learned rather, is through, on the first theme, integration of STEM for societal impact, we learned about STEM integration across disciplines and how science, through technology and innovation grounded in Bhutan's own natural resources and strengthened by advanced tools and biosecurity systems, can offer practical homegrown solutions to real-world challenges and directly support national development. And then the potential for collaboration on this front with external partners and scholars. And through theme on happiness and well-being in cross-cultural contexts, the second theme, we learned that well-being is holistic and deeply human, grounded in compassion, relationships, and culturally rooted practices. And to help young people cope in life, it requires stronger support systems that nurture emotional, social, and community well-beings, and also having appropriate systems in place. And we also learned about enhancing students' learning across cultures. Through the theme on biodiversity, urbanization, and sustainable resource management, it highlighted how advanced technologies, sustainable resource solutions, and nature-based innovations can help Bhutan balance urbanization while ensuring development that protects biodiversity, support local livelihoods, and remain ecologically responsible and relevant. Through the Fireside chat on AI and the future of higher education, it emphasized at the bottom that while AI is transforming teaching, learning, and research, the future of higher education will depend on digital readiness, ethical governance, and keeping human thinking, values, and decision-making at the center. And on this note, we would like to close day 2 and wish you an enjoyable evening and look forward to meeting you tomorrow to begin the last day of the conference. Thank you.